Hello, and welcome to the GetsNatty podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. That special guest is nobody. So I'm going to answer a variety of viewer questions. I don't even have my special podcast sidekick, Teddy One Eye, who's just a teddy bear who doesn't talk. It's not a great bit, but I'm sticking with it. He's Andy Richter to my Conan O'Brien if Andy Richter were a plush bear with no brain. So love it. You gotta love how I commit to this bit, even though it completely doesn't work in an audio format. And for those of you watching, Teddy's not even with me, so it's not even working on a video format. Still committed to it. Okay, let's get to the questions. Oh, but before I answer questions, one of my videos made it on to Louder with Crowder, which is a conservative comedy show, I guess. Steven Crowder's the guy, you've seen the meme where he's sitting there at a table and will say X is Y, change my mind. You know the change my mind meme? That's Steven Crowder. And yeah, that's that. Obviously he wasn't positive. He called us depraved or whatever, Josh and me. So yeah, it's like, thanks for the plug. I kind of wish he would have like tagged our Instagrams or our TikToks, but whatever, exposure is exposure, and thanks, Steven Crowder. Part of it was weird. The Jim Brewer was there too. Jim Brewer used to be on Saturday Night Live. I'm a fan of his, or I think he's funny. Anyway, I always thought he was really funny. So it's like weird feeling to have someone you like calling you a shitty person or whatever. But you know, what are you gonna do? Exposure is exposure. Yo, boxers or briefs? Boxer briefs is my answer. I haven't worn like proper boxer shorts in I don't know, a long time. I feel like I wore those when I was a kid, and I haven't worn them since. I wear boxer briefs. You get those, get them at Walmart. Little 3-packs. They're nice. They fit good, flattering. The thing with briefs, like regular plain briefs, tighty whities as they call them, those look great if you're like 11% body fat. But if you're like 11.1% body fat, you look like a giant, fat, hairy baby wearing a diaper. I don't know what it is. It's really true. Right now, I'm not especially lean right now. I would look like a giant, fat, hairy baby if I put on a pair of briefs. It's just the truth. You know, I mean, hey, if you feel comfortable out there wearing briefs, go for it. But I feel like you gotta like look like an underwear model in order to like pull them off. And for whatever reason, that's not true with boxer briefs. Nathaniel, do you prefer cats or dogs? Well, I'll tell you. I like cats, but I love dogs. And you know, like I grew up with cats. I've loved cats, but you know, dogs are dogs. Dogs are better. They depend on you more. They love you more. I think part of it has to do with the fact that, you know, canines and humans, for the most part, have very similar diets, and we also hunt the same, like in groups. So it makes sense that our emotions, you know, we've been together for 15,000 years, and there's reasons for that. So yeah, short answer, dogs. And you're getting like a half-baked science answer from an idiot. I know nothing about anything. I'm not qualified to tell you about fucking canine or human evolution. So there. But yeah, dogs. Okay. The next question is, Nat, do you slay? I slay every day. I mean, I don't like kill people. But like, you mean like slay in like the, am I positive? I guess. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't have a good answer for it. I'm out here slaying figurative demons. So yeah. The next question is, favorite meal? I don't know what kind of question that is. Like, what do you mean? Like breakfast, lunch, or dinner? I guess my favorite meal is dinner. A good dinner. But then again, a good lunch is good. If you mean like my favorite meal, like the food, it would be, I don't know, so many. I like good meals. My favorite meal is the next one. The next great one. Great question. Okay. So the next question is, What is a lesson you wish you had learned earlier when you were a young man? This is a great question. What I always say is, I used to think that like success came from like big, bold, sweeping moves. What I've learned as I've gotten older is that success generally comes from little victories, just doing the little things, doing the right thing, paying that bill on time, making your bed, et cetera, et cetera. It's like you'll think like people who get lucky are people who are in a position to capitalize on breaks that come their way. Does that make sense? It's, it's like do the right thing consistently and good things happen. I wish it were, I wish it sounds so simple, and that's because it is. But I wish I had learned that. I mean, I wish I'd put more time into, being a disciplined person when I was younger. But there's no percentage in freaking out about the past, because the past is the past. But yeah, that's something. At least I would just tell younger people is, do the little things. It's about the little things. The little things accumulate. Little wins accumulate to big wins. And like I said, I'll reiterate it. Like people who seem to get all the lucky breaks are people who are in a position to capitalize on lucky breaks, because their ducks are in a row and they have their shit together. So get your shit together. Keep your shit together. Pay your bills. Show up. I wish, it's great advice. I wish I started living like that much sooner than I did. The next question is, give advice for getting over somebody who has no interest in you romantically. Well, there is no good advice here. There's just it's a difficult thing, unrequited love. It's something that is, they say it's like generated so much art. I've been there, of course I've been there. I've been on the shit end of that stick. And there really is no advice other than, find someone else. You might have to remove this person from your life. Because it's like, have you ever not been into somebody? Have you ever, you have to like be able to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Because what seems so important to you, you love this person, or you have feelings for them, which in some cases can be like so big. And for the other person, even if they care about you, it's just not that big of a thing to them. And you just can't you can't argue yourself, argue your way into somebody being romantically interested in you. It's either there or it's not. So, it's the easiest advice is look for somebody else and try to find someone else who actually is interested in you. But really, it just takes time. And the thing with romantic advice, it's so easy to give great advice, and the advice I'm giving you is sound. It's so easy to give good romantic advice, but people are going to do what they do, and that includes me. People do what they're going to do. Everyone knows what to do, but the heart does what the heart wants, for the most part. You know what I mean? So, I don't have great advice. It sucks. It's a shitty situation. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. Heartbreak in general. Heartbreak, takes a lot of forms, and I genuinely feel sorry for you. And I don't pity you, because I've been there. I don't pity you. I feel for you. So, and how could I pity you? That's like something. That's like one of the formative parts of life. I mean, you have to learn that just because you love someone doesn't mean they love you back, And, your definition of what is love could change over your life. And, they're not the one for you. So find someone else. I feel like I'm giving myself advice in the past. Like, past me needed to hear this a few times. But let me just reiterate, I feel for you, and best of luck. I hope
I hope you can get over it as soon as possible, because it's just a tough way to be. Tough thing to go through. I'm really sorry.
Nat, what is the best fast food breakfast? That's a great question. Well, it's an easy question. The best fast food breakfast is McDonald's. It's not even close. I don't know how there's any debate about this. People sometimes they'll say Taco Bell breakfast, and it's like, are you insane? Is Taco Bell paying you? Is PepsiCo paying you to fucking say that? Because that's fucking ludicrous. Taco Bell breakfast, it's awful. McDonald's breakfast is fantastic. Wendy's breakfast, it's okay. It's good. It's not McDonald's breakfast. In fact, Wendy's has the single best breakfast item, which is the breakfast Baconator. It's better than anything McDonald's has for breakfast. But am I going to say Wendy's breakfast is better than McDonald's breakfast? Hell fucking no. Hell no. I mean, that's crazy talk. Crazy talk. Have we gone mad? People just like to have hot takes, and Wendy's is better. Wendy's breakfast is better than McDonald's. Is like somebody like, ooh, I just want to have like this new hot take, but they don't really believe it. And hey, good for you, Wendy's, for trying. And hey, great job with the breakfast Baconator, because it's amazing. I quit vaping the other day. It's why, and I have like a bit of a sore throat. I had a terrible cold. That's why my voice sounds weird. In case you're wondering, what else is there? Burger King breakfast. It's. I said once famously in my own mind anyway, that McDonald's breakfast is like Pokemon and Burger King breakfast is like Digimon. I mean, it's fine, but it's not as good as Pokemon. Do I like Star Wars or Star Trek better? That's a great question. I'm not even sure I know the answer. I've loved Star Wars going back to my very early childhood. I remember seeing Empire Strikes Back in the movie theater at a drive-in when I was an infant, maybe 2. And since I was a child, I wanted to be Luke Skywalker. I'm very much of the age where Star Wars is a very formative part of my life, even. So I love Star Wars. Almost quasi-religious way. Star Trek, I never was a huge fan of growing up. It was like reruns of the original series were ubiquitous when I was a kid. I always liked them, I guess. And I liked the movies. Wrath of Khan, great film. I didn't care much for Star Trek The Next Generation as a kid. If you had asked me in 1992 who my favorite captain was, I would have said Kirk. Saw maybe 10 episodes of TNG while it was on. So smash cut to my 30s when I decided on a lark to watch TNG, Star Trek The Next Generation, and loved it. Then I watched Deep Space Nine, and I loved that. And since then, I'm what you would call like a pretty big Star Trek nerd. I love Star Trek. It's tough for me to if I had to choose one or the other, it's pretty tough for me because they're both very different. I guess if I had to choose one, I'd pick Star Trek because I think Star Trek has more potential for better content going forward than Star Wars. But yeah, basically I love both. And I don't think it's a mutually exclusive thing. Why? It's like you can like the Beatles and the Stones. Liking the Beatles doesn't mean you don't like the Stones. I never kind of understood stuff like that. So yeah, I like Star Wars and Star Trek. But as I get older, I probably like Star Trek more and more and Star Wars less and less, which is fine. Because, Star Wars is ultimately for children. And that's its point. It was expressly made for a generation, fairy tales for a generation who grew up without fairy tales. And, nothing will ever come close to, what the Star Wars original trilogy means to me as a person and to my inner child. Nothing could ever really touch that. Certainly nothing but Star Trek. Nothing that Star Trek could do. But, yeah, that said, I look forward to more good Star Trek, more than I look forward to any Star Wars stuff that comes down the pike. I am asked, would I go to VidCon? I don't know what VidCon is. I guess I'd go. Will they put me up? I'll go to VidCon. VidCon people, are you listening? What's your favorite type of content on YouTube? I like video essays. I like. I subscribe to YouTube Premium. I use it for my That's where I get all my music from. I use YouTube the way a lot of people use Spotify. I find it's expensive but worth it. I love Red Letter Media. I like video essays. I like documentaries. I love YouTube. I really, really love YouTube. I hope to be successful on YouTube because I love it so much. And, I like watching people talk about history, politics, Star Trek. Again, Red Letter Media. And, I feel like making it would be being a guest on Best of the Worst, which is one of Red Letter Media's shows. What advice would you give to someone feeling imposter syndrome for finding their passions later in life, being surrounded by folks younger than them, how to get over the ageism and shame? The advice I would give, and this is a real Will Rogers quote, and it's advice I need to periodically give myself, and that advice is, don't worry what other people think about you because they never fucking do. I added the F word. But, if maybe the people you're surrounded will, for a second, will be like, oh, they're so old. Ew. But, they're not going to spend a lot of time on it. And it's going to be a bigger thing in your head. And just, do what you got to do. Put one foot in front of the other. Go out there and slay. It sounds like I'm dismissing your concerns. I'm not. I'm just trying to express that ultimately it's a problem that begins and is solved inside your own head. So, whatever you have to do to ignore that, or to push to get past it, or to sublimate it, is what you got to do. You know what I mean? That's a good question, and I just don't, and I'll speak for myself, I just don't care. I'm too old to be on TikTok, whatever. What am I going to do? Here I am. So, apparently I'm not. You know what I mean? But I wish you luck, and please don't for a minute think that I've got, my head screwed on exactly straight, and I don't have my own, foibles and insecurities, because of course I do. But, it's always easy when it's someone else's problems to, solve it for them. Let me solve it for you. Just don't worry about it. Put one foot in front of the other and do your thing. I know who this is. I know you're an artist, and just keep making your art, Just do it. Well, I quite enjoyed this episode. I have a very exciting guest coming next week. And some very exciting guests in the week to come. The reason I didn't have a guest this week was I got really sick the other day, and I just didn't have time to do the due diligence to book somebody. But I have a couple excellent guests coming up. I did quit vaping, which is exciting. So I love you guys. I'll see you guys next week, and maybe there'll be a surprise podcast coming in the next day or two. Maybe.